Okay, let's start. For those people who cannot join this time, we will do recording this webinar, so they can send us the email to request the recorder. Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, maybe someone in the evening. Hello to all of you, and a warm welcome to this webinar. My name is QQ Wang, and I'm thrilled to be your speaker and guide for today's training session on exploring high voltage home energy storage solutions with PylonTech Force H1. As the sales director at PylonTech, a leading innovator at energy storage technology, I'm deeply committed to driving the adoption of sustainable power solutions. I have been actively involved in promoting PylonTech's cutting-edge battery storage systems and assisting customers in harnessing the full potential of energy storage for residential and commercial applications. Today, we are fortunate to have our technical support engineer, Ms. Greta Gu, as our trainer of high voltage systems for residential. Her expertise and insights will shed a light on the potential of the PylonTech Force H1 system and how it can revolutionize the way we store and utilize energy in our homes. Okay, let's start. Through this webinar, we aim to equip you with the knowledge and insights needed to make informed decisions about implementing high voltage home battery storage solutions. Our agenda for today, we will discuss the benefits of high voltage systems, including increased efficiency, enhanced performance, and greater flexibility. Furthermore, we will explore real-life case studies and success stories from homeowners who have already embraced high voltage home battery storage solutions. This first-hand expertise will highlight the practical benefits and economic advantages of adopting this technology. And this webinar is not just about us to presenting information to you. It's a platform for interactive learning and engagement. We really encourage you to participate actively, ask questions, and share your experience throughout the session. Your input and insights will enrich the discussions and contribute to a more comprehensive understanding of the topic. And once again, I extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us today and for your enthusiasm in learning about high voltage energy solutions for residential. Before the technical training, I will give you introduction of PylonTech company and the portfolio of our products. It takes about 5 minutes. PylonTech was established in 2009. We started from BMS and LFP cathode material production. After 2 years, we transfer our material production to one of our biggest shareholder, and he is continuing doing that business and become one of the largest material supplier in China. Then we moved to downstream a little bit, which including battery cells, modules, racks, and container solutions. Of course, the BMS is always been one of our featured products. In 2014, we started the mass shipment of residential BSS to Europe and Australia already. And then the next year, in 2015, we started to deploy the large utility scale products for China domestic market. And in 2018, we already reached 1 gigawatt-hour shipment of BSS globally. And then the next year, energy storage is getting more and more popular. We easily expanded the capacity with another 1.5 gigawatt-hour. A lot of investors starting to follow us. Then we got a public listed on China stock market successfully in the end of 2020. And based on IHS report, Pylon Tech has been ranked as the #2 residential supplier, residential BSS supplier globally in 2021. And last year, based on the calculating, and we have been ranked as the #1 for global residential BSS supplier. In last year, we also achieved a few good points. We are honored to be selected by Morgan Stanley Capital International Index on their list. They only chose the well-performed company on their bucket. And this year, we will more focus on supporting our partners to grow business, and we will provide the localized supports. You might already see the news. We just announced last week, we are building a new manufacturing base in Europe. Here is to show our manufacturing bases, current manufacturing bases. Our headquarters is based in Shanghai, Pudong area. We have R&D center in the National Sales, Marketing, and Technical Board, all of them based here. Pylon Tech has 4 manufacturing bases in China, 2 in Jiangsu province, 1 in Hubei, and one new facility in Anhui. Plus, we have new one in Europe now. So total capacity in China we have is 17 gigawatt hours. Till today, we have delivered more than 1 million systems to over 80 countries. That means our products has been tested and approved by different environmental scenarios. Every year, we invest more than 6% in R&D. Today, we already obtained more than 200 our own patents. Last year, we also completed an ESG audit. We will continue to do ESG everywhere. Adopting ESG principles means that corporate strategy focus on the 3 pillars of the environment, social responsibility, and the governance. This means taking measures to lower pollution, CO2 output, and reduce waste. For example, all of our new package of batteries will be plastic-free. It also means having a diverse and inclusive workforce at the entry level and all the way up to the board of directors. ESG may be very costly and time-consuming to undertake, but can also be rewarding in the future for those that carry it through. Pylon Tech is one of a few companies has real full integrated manufacturing chains. We have our own software, BMS, also hardware, the materials from the cells, modules, racking, container solutions. What does that mean to our partners or end users or the system owners? Firstly, we don't have any supply chain issue. Even in last 24 months, a lot of companies have been suffered for breaching contracts, changing price, or even couldn't deliver. But Pylon Tech, we honored all those contracts we signed. Secondly, it means commitment of safety, reliability, and stability, because we control the quality from the raw materials all the way down to the systems. We know how to mix the raw materials to make a cathode and anode films, and we know every batch cells are from same quality control process, which is controllable and traceable. Thirdly, it also gives us long-term business opportunities. For example, if we need a repair or replace battery modules 5 years, 6, 8 years later, how can we make sure the new battery modules can be compatible with the older system? Same as the off-grid system. A cottage installed a 5 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt hour system today, but after some years, the battery degraded, and the capacity is not enough to supply the appliance. We have to add 1 or 2 modules. We need to make sure the new modules will communicate with the BMS, communicate with the master batteries or PCS, and compatible with the whole older system. But for us, we can say that we don't have the issue of the compatibility at all. because we have our own sales BMS. And our philosophy from R&D team is any new version products will cover the old version products. Pylon-Tech has passed most certificates for different countries, such as VDE for Germany, JET for Japan, UL, CSA for North America, and recently we also on the list of CEC, which is especially for California. This is a part of a testing report from ITP from Australia. They bought batteries from the market randomly and started to do the real practical testing, 1 cycle per day. This chart shows after 2,000 cycles, even 2,500 cycles, what's the battery health status. This blue line is for Pylon-Tech. You can see that we still have the best performance after 2,000 or 2,500 cycles. And this is from the same report. During the whole 5 years testing period, Pylon-Tech batteries don't have any issue at all. This gives us as sales team or our partners a lot of confidence to tell customers we are delivering reliable energy storage systems to you. Sorry, back to the other. Yeah, this is the products portfolio of our residential BSS. The left one is 12 volts. The left one with in black color is the most advanced 12-volt battery in the market. It has Bluetooth built in, has heating film built in, also can make 4 in parallel, 4 in series to make a 24, 36, 48 volt systems and up to 19.2 kilowatt hour system. And the 24 UP series is not very popular in North America, but more popular in Latin. 48 volt series, we have rack mounted and a stackable types. Both of them have been compatible with different brand inverters, especially with the Solarc in North American market. And the other BP series, which is not popular in North America too. This is our products portfolio for high voltage. The left picture, which is 400 volts stackable, which is 4H1. Greta gonna do the detailed introduction for this product, specific this product today. And we also have all-in-one outdoor cabinet, which is Optimus. A lot of clients has interest in this one. We will also have standard products to do the display at the SPI in September. And in next a few webinars, we will also do introduction of these high voltage for outdoor cabinets, for CNI projects, even utility scale projects. Okay, so today, and then also have a next page to show we already compatible with different brand inverters, PCS, like Solis, Solarc, Victron, Schneider, SMA, Outback, which is a very popular brand inverters in North American market. Okay, so that is my part. I'm gonna pass to Greta. Greta.
Okay, I will share my screen now. So according to the family's requirements now, more and more high power inverters are on the market, such as 15 kilowatt hour, 20 kilowatt hour. And if you use low voltage batteries, you may use 4 to 6 battery modules, then the current would be very big. Sometimes it could extend 200 amps. the customer should use the thicker power cables, and the heat would also become larger. If you use a high voltage battery, the current is small and the interference of the system is small. Then the efficiency of the high voltage PV storage system is higher. And so the first advantage of the high RESS is the increased efficiency. It will reduce the resistive losses during energy conversion and improve the overall system performance. The second advantage is the system integration. If the customer already has a PV and a string inverter and want to add an energy storage system, you may just to add the batteries and the converter, serving it as an AC coupled system. So there is no need to replace a hybrid inverter. Then the cost considerations. The high voltage system allow for the users for smaller cable sizes compared to the low voltage system. It would reduce the cost and the complexity of the installation, since the thinner cables are easier to handle and require less spaces. Then the safety considerations. The high voltage batteries have the higher requirements for the cell consistency and the BMS the management, which would prioritize to minimize the risks. And sales and BMS, it is our company's advantage. The last one is the grid connectivity. The high voltage home battery storage systems can be configured to provide the grid connectivity and enable the function like the backup power during the outage or participate in the demand response programs. Then this is the advantages of the high voltage batteries storage solutions. And then how we choose that system. There are some key challenges. First, the cost efficiency. It is essential to evaluate the cost effectiveness of the system based on its lifespan, the efficiency, and the potential saving from the reduced energy cost or revenue generation, and also the return on the investment. Then the compatibility. You should choose the compatible batteries and inverters. Make sure the voltage range is suitable. And many end users will send email to ask me whether a certain inverter is compatible with our batteries. But sometimes many people will confuse high voltage and low voltage products and mix using them. And the result is to damage the device. Then think about the usage scenarios. For home use, there are serve-use mode, peak shaving mode, or the backup mode. And the commercial side also has many different uses. The next part is the safety and reliability. The battery safety is a critical concern. You should evaluating the safety features, the certifications, and the track record of the manufacturer. It's vital to minimize the hazard. And additionally, it is popular to take the sustainability into consideration, like the environmental impact of the raw material or how to dispose the products. Then the capacity and the performance. You should choose the suitable capacity and pay attention to the batteries parameter like DOD, C rate. Next is life cycle and maintenance. You should choose long life cycle products and the products which is maintenance friendly. Then the regulation, you can search the local regulation, or if there is policy, if the subsidy is better. The last one is the scalability and the future expansion. You have to think about if you want to add the capacity in the future. For example, the original capacity isn't enough, or you want to change the usage scenarios. If this system could allow to add more battery modules after a few years, it's important part. Our company has many high voltage battery solutions like Force H series, Power Cube, X, H, and M series. And today I will focus on the Force H series for the residential use. The single battery module is 48 volts and 74 amps hour, and the module capacity is 3.55 kilowatt hour. The module size is 600 millimeters width, 380 millimeter depth, and 170 millimeters height. The single battery module's weight is 36 kilograms. And the one BMS could configure max 7 battery modules. The system capacity of this 7 battery module is 24.786 kilowatt hour, and the voltage is 336 volts. The system weight could reach 266 kilograms. There are many advantages of our Force H series. First, the strong scalability. The capacity is flexible to choose. One BMS could configure 3 to 7 battery modules like the picture shows. And if you want to add the capacity, you could choose more than one BMS. We could support max 6 systems in parallel. So the capacity choice is from 10 to 150 kilowatt hour. And also it is flexible mounting. The installation is really simple. You could just stack module one by one. No other cables. You could install them even you don't have the technical background, but we still recommend you have the installer to help you. Then the advantages is the safety, reliability, and our cutting edge technology. We have batteries in our laboratory that have been working for more than 10 years and are still running healthily, which verifying the quality and the circle life of our battery. That's why we raise our circle life to 8,000 times. And it is a real number, not from the calculation or simulation. And our battery have many certifications such as IEC, VDE, CE, UL. Passing UL means our products are able to sold in North American markets. The US 9548 is the thermal runaway test for the standard battery cells. The UL 9073 is for the battery system. Our battery has the optimal performance. The DOD could reach 95%, but we still recommend our customer to set it at 90% to avoid the over-discharge situation. And if you buy our product and register your battery on our website, you will have the 10 years warranty. The Force H has a good appearance and flexible installation scenarios. For me, it doesn't look like the battery. It's more look like a storage cabinet. So you could feel free to put in the home or even in the living living room. If someone visits your home, I believe seldom of them could recognize it. And the IP55 means we could particularly prevent the intrusion of dust and water. It could be available for indoor and outdoor installations. This is the configuration of the 4H series for one BMS. Let's serve the 3 battery module as example. If you have 3 battery modules, the nominal capacity is about 10.7 kilowatt hour. The usable capacity is 9.6. It's calculated under 90% DOD, and the rated power is 5.3. The peak power is 5.8 in 15 seconds. If you have 7 battery modules, the nominal capacity could reach about 25 kilowatt hour. The usable capacity is 22.4 kilowatt hour. The rated power is 12.4 kilowatts. The peak power for 15 seconds is 13.4 kilowatts. And the minimum backup time of this system is 1.8 hours. This figure is the simple circuit diagram of 4H series batteries. On the right, it is the BMS. You can see the communication cables, the power cables linked to the external parts. And when the BMS turns on, the BMS has a serve test time for about 30 seconds, and the relay can check whether the battery can communicate with the inverter. When the relay on, it means they communicate successfully, and the fuse is used to protect the circuit. The figure on the left shows the battery modules connected in series. Next part is the installation. When you purchase our battery module, you could have the numbers of battery modules you bought. And then for the BMS package, you will receive 1 BMS, the brackets for the stability, 1 base, a pair of power cable to connect the BMS to the inverter, 2 communication cable. One is to connect the BMS to the inverter. Another one is for the backup use. And a grounding cable, the operation manual and the warranty card. And there are some requirements for the environment and the location. We recommend the battery is located in the dry place and avoid the direct sunlight. The temperature is below 0 to 50 degrees. And the place avoid soaking into the water or at the low-lying places. So the position of the battery installation is recommended to be 300 millimeter above the ground. And this base should be need to be able to withstand the corresponding weight because the battery is not very light. And the 4H series are stacked. There is no power cable to connect each battery module. This green circle indicates the connector of each battery module. So please do not touch it. It's really dangerous. And if you are worried about the instability of the simple stacking, we also provide the connecting brackets with BMS. If you have 6 or 7 battery modules, you could use 2 long brackets and 2 short brackets. If you have 4 battery modules, you could use 2 long brackets. And if you have 3 battery modules, you can use 2 short brackets. So it depends on the numbers of the battery modules. And after installation of the battery module, pay attention to tighten the screw of the BMS for safety. And the force edge has 3 grounding points. We could choose one of them to connect to the AC load ground cable. And look at this picture. This is the back side of the BMS. I can introduce you from the left. This is the power switch, and the red one is the start button. It's soft switch, and this is the grounding cable. And next is a Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. It could. We have a platform called SolarMan. You can monitor the battery status through this Wi-Fi. And this too is a power terminal to connect the BMS to the inverter. The next 5 are communication terminal. The link 1 and the link 0 could realize the parallel connection of each BMS. The RH485 and CAN could connect the BMS to the inverter. And RS232 is to connect the BMS to the Apple controller to do the monitoring and upgrade some advanced operations. This is the front side of the BMS. You could it shows the SOC, the status, the numbers of the batteries. And you could quick find the faulty battery from it. Then here is the procedure of the power on. First, you should double check all the previous installation procedures. If the communication cable are connected successfully, the power cable are connected. Then when you checked that everything is okay, then you should switch the power switch from right to the left. Then press the start button for more than 5 seconds. The BMS needs 30 seconds for self-checking. When you see the red light on the front side of the BMS, it shows the connection is successful. And when there is the breaker between the BMS and inverter, when the breaker is tripped off because of the overcurrent or the short current, you have to wait for more than 10 minutes and then turn on it again. Otherwise, it could cause the breaker damage. And during the first time power on, the system will require to do the fully charged process for the SOC calibration purpose. And there is a tips. If you already have the ForceH1 battery system and you want to add the battery modules to this existing system, first you have to fully charge the old battery modules. Make sure all the battery modules voltage are the same, and then add the new battery module into the system. Then it's the procedure of power off. First, you should turn off the inverter or the power supply on the DC side, and then turn off the switch between PCS and the battery system. Last, turn off the power switch from left to right. ForceH is compatible with inverters, compatible with many inverters in the market. In US market, we always use Solis, Solarc, Kehua, and here we use the Solis as an example. Here is the recommended numbers of the minimum battery modules and the inverter module. And the choice depends on the power and the battery series. Our ForceH is 0.5C. So for example, the 7.6 inverter could configure 1 BMS and 4 battery modules. the capacity would be the 14 kilowatt hour. And if you want to use more battery modules, it's okay, because the inverters and the batteries build the communication, and the battery could always work at 0.5 C. Our BMS could protect the battery. And if you wish, you could add or reduce the battery modules for the specific requirement. And this diagram is the connection diagram for the Solis S6 series and the Force H1 series. From the DC side, the PV connect to the inverter, the battery also connect to the inverter. There are a pair of power cable connect to the battery to the inverter. Then the Solis use the CAN communication, so you should connect the CAN port to the inverter. From the AC side, the inverter connect to the load and the grid. If you want to add the capacity, you could connect the BMS in parallel. Between the BMS, you should connect the link one of the master battery to the second link 0 port, and for the master battery CAN port would connect to the inverter. And also we need a combiner box to store the power cable. We also provide this combiner box. We have the two sides of the combiner box. If you have 2 or 3 BMS, you can choose the P combiner HV3. If you have 4 to 6 BMS, you can choose the combiner 6. From this picture, you can see that the power cable from look the right picture first. You can see that the power cable inside the combiner box is equipped with the fuse to provide the safety. And on the left picture, you can see there is a main switch outside the combiner box. When you connect the Solis and our battery, you should download the you should download the PV app to see the operation condition of the inverter, because there is no screen on the Solis S6. The connection could be communicate automatically. And if you want to know the working condition of our battery, you can use the SolarMan. And next month, we will launch a brand new product, Force H3. It has a higher density and a smaller footprint. The C rate could reach 1 C. It's not only for PV system storage and also for the PV shaving charge. Our batteries are easy maintenance as long as they are used normally. There will generally be no problems if you use right inverters and all the settings are right. If you use the batteries every day, they are maintenance free. But if you don't use the battery regularly, for example, you are always away from the home for a long time and do not use the battery during that time, then the batteries needs the maintenance. In order to meet the better performance and the battery, remember to fully charge the battery system every 6 months. And there are several factors that will affect the battery's performance, such as voltage, current, temperature. The voltage and the current are determined by the BMS and the inverter, and the installation environment is something that the installer need to consider. The battery needs to be placed in a dry and clean environment, avoid the direct sunlight, minimize the contact with dust and water. Force edge is the protection level is IP55, indicating that it cannot completely resist the intrusion of the dust and the water. And more customers care about the battery in the process of using it, the longer life of the battery will be. The different temperature have different effects on the life cycle. 25 degrees centigrade is the best temperature for the batteries. As this temperature, the cycle time could reach 8,000 times. And this is the reason why we suggest the customer to install batteries at the proper temperature. Too low or too high temperature would influence the C rate and the life cycle. We also suggest the customer to install them indoors. The air conditioning could control the ambient temperature at the extreme weather. Then the batteries would have a longer life. This is the example in the Melbourne, Australia. At first, the user puts the battery indoors as the residential storage. Later, due to the demand changes, he moved the battery outdoors and convert it with a shed to the backup EV charging pills. From this picture on the right, you can see that there are some waters on the surface of the battery, but it doesn't affect the normal use of the battery. This system has been running stably for more than 3 years. And here is some picture for our ESS situation from the 2013. And this is all the information I want to share with you today. You could scan the QR code on the left, and you can go to our website for the more information. And in the rest of this year, we could participate the 3 exhibitions in the US. And the new list one is in Mid-Atlanta in July. We are also hoping to meet you there at that time. And thank you for attention. I hope you found this section useful. And if you have questions, you can ask me. You can raise hand or unmute the microphone.
Thank you, Greta. Thanks for the detailed introduction. And Ali has questions. You want to unmute? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Ali.
Hello, how are you doing? Thank you very much for your presentation. I was looking forward for that. So I have actually a few questions. So the first question I have is, does the Force H1, does it only work on 3-phase or also 1-phase? Because here in UK, we have most of our residential home is considered to be 1-phase. So a lot of customers are asking me regarding that. So is there any limitation for that? That's question 1. Question 2, I'll be grateful if you could send me the compatibility of the inverters that could be used with Force H1 and also Force H2. I actually have a big quantities of these batteries, and I'm finding it hard to kind of promote them because of the lack of compatibility with other inverters. And question 3, I'll be grateful if you could send me the list configuration I've water tank. Give me 1 second. Yeah, configuration for the H1 and also for the compatibility list. That's it from my side. Thank you. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. One question. Next one question. Are they compatible with solar plants inverters?
Solar plants inverters.
Yes.
Yes, it's compatible.
And how many? Do you have the configuration? How many minimum required to use?
We don't have the recommendation of that, but you can tell me your requirements and I can give you the solutions.
Okay, brilliant. Because do you know what? Maybe one thing that you could also explain is I don't understand why sometimes, for example, you need to use more than one battery. Like for example, and when you're using on the Solas S6, the 7.6 kilowatt, you need to use minimum of 4 batteries.
Yeah.
Greta, why is that? What's the reason for that?
Like, wait. For example, if the Solis, if you use the 7.6 kilowatt inverters,
Yeah.
yeah, and I recommend 4 battery modules. The single battery modules power, if you use it at 0.5 C, it's 1.7 kilowatts,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So if you use 4 battery modules, the power is similar with the inverter. The inverter's power should be match the battery's power. This is just a recommendation for cost safety, to save the cost. But if you want to use more battery modules, it's okay.
Can I say something? It also need to check the specification of the inverter to see the voltage range. Voltage and the
Okay.
current range has to match with the batteries.
You mean the minimum requirement and the maximum requirements?
There is a range. So you have
Yes.
to make sure the battery, how many battery you stack on each other. Each battery module is 48 volts. So you need to
Yes.
calculate.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you.
Some start wake up voltage of the inverter is about like 150 volts. So if you use 4 battery modules, the voltage would be, let me calculate it. It could be 192. It's okay. But if you use 3 battery module, it's just 144. It could not wake up the inverter. So you could not use that.
Got you. Thank you very much. That was a very good explanation. Thank you.
And you also requested for the compatible list. Can you type us your email address? You can
Yes,
send me. Yeah.
of course I can. Yeah, I'll do it now on the chat.
And someone is asking, can we install any of the pylon tech batteries in the living space in Canada yet, or only in a detached building? I think in Canada, we do have regulations. In living space, we only can limit it, I think it's 20 kilowatt hours. So if you more than 20 kilowatt hours has to be installed in the detached buildings. But less than that should be okay. It really depends on the regulation.
I'm sorry, I have problem in writing on the chat. Is it because is it disabled or?
Should be able. Richard, can they put any chats?
You can put your email address in the question box, then we can see that.
And Paul is asking, in California, is over 20 kilowatt hour system okay? In California, I think it also has 20 kilowatt hour systems in which one? CEC or which certificate, they do have the regulations, which is the 20 kilowatt hours. Paul, I will check and send you by email. Because we try to do the UL 9540 certificate, and our engineer team told me there is a limitation on the 20 kilowatt hour systems. So the minimum spacing between stacks. Greta, can you answer this question? What's the minimum spacing between stacks?
Minimum spacing between stacks.
Each stack, between each stack. Like if we have 2 or 3 stacks connection together.
You could not I think you could not put them together because it will affect the communication between each system. And I will check the minimum space of that. I will check that.
Paul said 3 feet minimum spacing is the default, I believe. We can double check that. Alfredo is asking, are you going to share slides in a webinar? Rachel, we're gonna publish this webinar on YouTube, right?
Yes, we were gonna share all the webinar records on our website and on our YouTube channels.
And for the slides, how are we going to share? We're gonna send them by email or PPT?
For the slides, please send email to us and we're gonna share.
Oh, okay. So whoever requested the PPT can send us email. We're gonna send to them separately. Okay. Sure, I will send you Alfredo. Mark is asking, are the new sodium batteries coming for residential batteries? So with the new sodium batteries be less expensive? Good question, Mark. Sodium batteries is our new products. We just got the certificate and we will do the trial production, and the mass production will not be started until next year. For residential, I believe so, because we produce the cells, so we just forming cells into different type of modules. For residential, yes, we do have the batteries for residential, but for the cost, for short term, I don't think it will be cheaper because we have to consider all those supply chain and the scales cost. Because for start, we are the first one to do the mass. If we are the first one to do the mass production, all those costs will be higher. But I believe for long term, because of the sufficient materials, if a lot of manufacturers do together has the scales manufacturing and huge scaled demanding from the market. I believe the cost will be lower, less expensive. Okay, Ali, I will also share the PPT with you too.
Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome. So if anyone has other questions, you as our friends join this webinar, you also can give us any comments, like next time, what else topics you like to hear, and you can give us some recommendation or what comments or topics you like to discuss or to hear from us. Also talk about the H2 and the US 2000 and the US 3000. Sure, we can arrange this in some webinar. But Ali, you from Europe, right? Greta, you can add this topics to European webinar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the
Yes,
H2.
I'm from the UK actually.
Oh, okay, good.
And I've been trying to find these webinars, and that's how I registered into this one. I've signed up to. Yeah.
Okay, good. So Greta can arrange that for especially for a European webinar.
Yeah.
That would be great. I'm looking forward for that. Thank you, Greta.
Okay, so I think we are doing good. Thank you everyone to join this webinar, and thanks for those questions. It's really valuable for us. And if you have any other questions, you would like to know more about us, more about our products, just feel free to send us email. Even not from North America, it's okay. You send us email, we will forward you to our local representative or whoever in charge of that region. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kiko. Thank you.
Bye-bye.